Hey guys, Frank the Portal Master here, and I'm here with kind of a different video. So, this is the bigger project that I have been working on for about a week or so, racking my brain on this. It is not completely done, but it's far enough along to where I want to share it. So, a big goal of mine would to get the Skylander games rebooted. Now, I have tried contacting Activision, Toys for Bob, and them multiple times, but I got no response. I even sent handwritten letters with nothing in response. There is one more thing I still need to contact. I'm pretty sure it's Microsoft is the other one I need to contact to try. Maybe this video will be able to help. I know I'm not that big of a channel, but maybe if I'm lucky. There are some things that I feel like would be good for the reboot of the game. Before I get on to what I've been working on, the one thing I want to say that would probably be a good idea would be to release all 6 games as one game. You can access all 6 of them, play them all on the newer consoles. So the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, the Series, and the 5. Because, of course, I know not everyone has a new gen console. I don't have a new gen console. I have a 360 and a Minecraft 1S. So, just one portal, one game. You can play all 6 games and re-release some figures from each game in order to hype it up. Like some of the rarer ones, like for example, like Robo, Wildstorm, like the big 4 I call them: Robo, Wildstorm, Green Chompy Mage, Green Thrillipede. It's like some of the Light and Darks. It's like a good mixture of all of them, like some gimmick characters, other things like that. And to tweak the games, like make Trap Team a little bit less buggy. Of course, I've run across some bugs in Trap Team. And do some other fine tuning. One main thing is with superchargers. I would like them to add a default car that you can use that isn't that good. That just like it'll get you by, but it's not that good for the people who like want to play the game. But then if you don't get a vehicle, you literally can't play the game without a land vehicle. So it's like mega release or game 7. I feel like the smartest thing to do would be to announce the reboot and let the fans decide. Do they want Mega Collection because the first 2 games haven't been playable since 360 and PlayStation 3, Giants and Spyros. Those ones can't be played on newer consoles, except for like computer emulator, I'm pretty sure. Which, of course, I mean, or game 7. So I have been racking my brain coming up with my own game 7. That's what I've been working on this. And just for safety's sake, my name is Frank Windsor. It is June 23rd, 2023, and it is currently 9:15 p.m. And these are my ideas for Skylanders Game 7. I call Skylanders Dark Return. So, this game does take some inspiration from Skylanders Academy. Your main enemy is Strykor, which backstory is it's like him, Eon, and Cassandra were friends when they were younger. You good, mismatch? You okay, bud? You okay? You fucking around and ended up hurting yourself. You're such a weird dog. He seems to be okay. So back to what I was saying. Eon, Strykor, and Cassandra were all friends in that when they were younger. Strykor stumbles across a dark magic book. It ends up corrupting him. He ends up corrupting beings and being the first scourge on Skylands. I have an entire intro thing typed out on my phone. I just haven't translated it over into writing yet. So I'm just kind of going off of memory. So then, it's like Cassandra does her own thing. Eon makes the Core of Light. They battle, seal Strykor away, and all of his high lackeys. Now we're at present day. And the seal, of course, is like Cassandra gains the power of dark magic. That's what you use, and Core of Light is what Eon uses. In Superchargers, both the dark magic and the Core of Light are destroyed or banished. So none of those magics are sealing him away anymore, so he's able to return. And his lackeys that were sealed away, while they were sealed, they were able to break free of his control and now want to make amends for the wrongs that they did in their past. Those become our new gimmick lanterns. Landers. They are known as the Sealed, which I know it's like Giants, of course. It's like you've got Swap Force, Trap Team, Superchargers isn't as bad, and then Senseis are just like so. We do have two ones that are like something Force or Team. The other ones are literally called Giants. So these ones being called the Sealed isn't too far off. But through them being sealed, they studied their sealing. Some of them were even able to break it prematurely, and they have mastered sealing and unsealing. So they can use that sealing and unsealing power to unseal things around levels and give you treasure. And then how thing that they can use their sealing power for is you will find broken soul gems, and then they can use their sealing power to then fix it and then collect the soul gem. Might even be able to do that with like a winged sapphire. I don't know. I do like the winged sapphires. I do want to bring them back. Another thing I would like to bring back is I do like elemental gates. But I actually have come up with 13 levels for this game. The starting level will be called Peaceful Pastures, which I just find ironic that the starting Chaos begins off at a place like that. The the second level is you have to stop Strikor and Chaos um, from getting an early foothold and starting a base on top of the cumbersome cliffs, which is the second level. And now I will go into more detail if I make a second episode on this once I get all of this down. So then the third level, you are on your way to go free Cassandra in the Cloudbreak Islands, but you're ambushed and separated in the Uncharted Woods, level 3. Then finally, you arrive at Chaos's rundown fortress, level 4, and you rescue Cassandra. She then informs you of where her magic book is kept, which will help you with your endeavors, and you need to retrieve it. That would be in Cassandra's hidden vault. You then find that there is a relic that allows you to bring Eon back to life, give him back his body. But it is in the realm of the undead, which Malefor has blocked off. The only way to get through it is with a certain drill. Which brings us to the abandoned drill rig, where we find and repair Drill X. Everyone's favorite rapping bot. Couldn't resist bringing him back, and I wanted to do it in a nice way too. So then we make it to the land of the undead, which would be level 7. And I didn't want it to be like a big escort mission. No, at the beginning of the level, there's a teleportation pad, and I'm pretty sure T-Bone was the name of the skeleton that we met in Spyro's Adventure. He tries to activate it. It doesn't work. It's been taken down. So we need to fight our way through the land of the undead to get to the other portal to turn it on so everyone, Drillex included, can be transported to the gates to the deep caverns, which would be level 8. We get through there, we defeat Malefor and get the relic to get Eon's body back. We take him and the relic to the Forest of Fairies to do a ritual to get his body back. While we're gone, Strikor and Chaos attack the Academy, stealing back his book that Eon had hidden. And then he then fulfills his end of the bargain to Chaos to bring back the power of the darkness. Not the enemy himself that we defeat in Superchargers, but just the magic. Which that goes on in the Ruins of Darkness, which is actually the area that is told to us in the Spellpunk library. In those storybooks, we actually go to that location. Then with Chaos powered up and Strikor powered up, we need to get a new tool. So Sharpfin tells us of an old buddy that he knows that is the smith at the legendary armory. When we get there, it is being raided. We clear out the enemies, help them out. Then at the end, once we help him out, he gives us the item. He mentions, I was checking my armory, and I think something's missing. I don't know what it is, but make sure you keep an eye out for it. So then with our new weapon, we make a march onto Strikor's stronghold. But we are just on the outskirts when we're going to meet Cassandra, who went out to try to talk sense into Chaos. Chaos, of course, doesn't listen, defeats her, and then this is the level with the Chaos fight, which Chaos has stolen the thing that he stole from the armory is a time staff, which he is able to manipulate time, and you have to go through a mini gauntlet of all 6 previous Chaos fights, which I just thought would be a fun throwback. He would have fun dialogue, and then, of course, once like that doesn't work, he then actually fights you himself for the 7th game fight, because I don't want it to just be all reusing old content. And then once you beat him, then you go into Strykor's stronghold, get through there, and then you end up fighting and defeating Strykor. So, I have come up with 2 characters for each type, except for light and dark, which I only have one of, for both the gimmick characters and cores. So 4 characters of each element, except for light and dark, which has 2. So for the sealed, which would be my gimmick ones, for tech, I have Prototype, who is a prototype robot that actually ends up being her creator's most powerful creation. His simplicity is what makes him really strong, is because he can easily swap out what he's able to attack with. I'll go into more detail in more info in another episode. Static Shock, he's able to build up static electricity and use that to fight. For magic, I have Brainwash, which he is quite literally a guy obsessed with cleaning that has learned the magic of brainwashing. And then for the other magic, I have Arthur, a magic swordsman who was actually able to break his seal before anyone else and became a legend on the planet Earth. Then for water, we have Brian Lee, a martial artist shrimp. Then we have Coral Chief, the commander of the deep, who also got out on it earlier, and he got known as Davy Jones. Then for life, I have King Dro, which would be the king of the Dro, which is an enemy that is introduced in Spyro's Adventure. He would basically be a buffed up version of the Brutes. And of course, like I said, I'll go into more detail. And then for my other life element, I have Sylvia, 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 something like that. She is a deer that, yes, female reindeer do have antlers. So she is a deer that can detach her antlers, and they're held together with a magic vine, and she can use them as nunchucks. For air, I have Surge, who has a close range electric attack. He can then shoot metal cross bolts, which then allow him to do a direct zap because it has something that arc to. I have Typhoon, who is the King of Storms. For undead, I have Tomb Tosser, an undead Lucho Libre, who uses his tombstone as instead of a metal chair. And I have Shroomby, which there is a species of mushrooms that infect spiders and ants and actually controls them and has them infect other ants and or spiders, which I just thought that would be a cool thing where it's like you kill them with a certain attack and you have a chance of an enemy actually coming back and fighting for you for a short amount of time. For fire, I have Brimstone, the first flaming swordsman who inspires Igniter. And the other fire, I have Molly Tov. Of course, you can guess what her primary weapon is. For earth, I have Carver, who is a sculptor with a magic chisel. Any sculpture that he makes comes to life. And I have Anukshuk, who he is a waypointer. An Anukshuk is a rock of stacks. is a stack of rocks that is used as landmarks. So he would be their navigator. He can use his powers of the earth to find out like wherever anything is. For light, I have Ark, who is she is a magician, not a magician. She is a wizard who gained the power of light, and she gained the most powerful magic known as Ark. Reference to Seven Deadly Sins. For dark, I have Arachnia, Queen of the Spiders. She actually uses spider webs as whips. And then for the last that I'll go into are my cores. I have Riff. So starting with tech element, I have Riff, who has an electric guitar. Buzzsaw, who is kind of like Chain Reaction, but he has like circular saws on his arms that he can like end up shooting out and other things like that. For magic, I have Sapphire. I could change her name, but she is a fairy, which, of course, the only really fairies that we know are Persephone and that other one that was in the one toxic marshland in Trap Team. And Mismatch, is not named after my dog. He is named after one of my characters, who Mismatch is named after as well. A magic wolf swordsman who can summon a magic katana to use to fight. Water would be a Kelpie, which is a mythical kelp horse, and Willow Bark, which, if anyone plays Swap Force, you would know is the. I think you meet Willow Bark first in that Archean graveyard. It may be him, I don't know. But the one that I'm referring to is the one in Phantasm Forest, and he is the Fire Chief. So he ends up becoming a Skylander, and not of the life element, but of the water element for his bravery as a firefighter. And he joins the water element and ends up becoming the Skylander. He is still weak to fire, though. He still tries. I just thought it was funny. For life element, I have Symbiotic, who is kind of a little bit of a gimmicky character. He can go on to another a co-player's second player character and basically can cover their 6, which I would want this game to be multiplayer and not just like local, but also online. And you have the choice when playing local to either have that tether and be full screen or be split screen and not have the tether. I feel like that's not that big of an ask. For air, I have Ace, the flying squirrel. Throws acorns, shoots a whirlwind. His tertiary allows him to fly in the air and drop acorns. And then Humzing. Humzing is like a boxing hummingbird. Not a lot of health, not a lot of attack, but fast, like good speed and good attack rate, so can deal a whole bunch of smaller damage quickly and can dodge attacks quicker. For undead, I have Iron Maiden, which they have Iron Maiden as a joke thing for in Garden Warfare 2, so you can make Iron Maidens cartoony, and I feel like it would be cool being like a damage over time trapping person. And the Soul Gem actually even allows you to open up and grab a person. The other undead would be a Ghost Pepper. Just once again thought would be a cool little. I'm just like, I'll be able to come up with movesets. Yes. For fire element, I have Labra, and they are basically like a sentient like candles and all that. Candelabra. Nana, who is a fire fox who prefers the sickle as a weapon. For Earth, I have Geode, who is the offspring of Bash and Flashwing. And I have Sandtrap, who is based off of an antlion, which they are the ones that dig the little sand cones and wait at the bottom. And when an enemy an ant falls in, they would eat them. So once again, another trapping one. For Light, I have Nova, who is based off of like a star exploding, a supernova, and then that explosion, the particles of it came together and became a living being, and then ended up getting discovered and became a Skylander. And for Dark, I have Shade. It's either going to be Shade or Abyss, one of those two, but it is sentient darkness that ended up inhabiting an empty. I don't know if I'm going to go with Gear Golem suit or Archean suit, and it ends up being like an even match for Skylanders to fight, and then they end up teaming up. So yeah, that is all that I have done for right now, and I have started working on upgrade paths and other stuff like that, showing all upgrades, what they do, and coming up with names for them as well. So I will continue to work on this, but I just wanted to get this out. So if this helps, please share this around. I would love to get this franchise rebooted. And I feel like with me and along with everyone else in the Skylander community, we can get the games rebooted and we can actually make games that people will want. Because their number one thing, other than oversaturating the market with all these figures, is they didn't listen to their community. I got that certificate because I wrote in a letter with a recommendation to a game that I had when I was younger. And they said, we don't take in recommendations, and they sent me that in return. So I feel like if they would listen and would have waited more, we probably would still have the games around to this day. But we'll just see how things go. Thank you guys all for watching and listening. I know this was kind of long video of me talking a lot. Well, I'd say it's about time for me to get some rest. Everyone have a good night, and have fun keeping Skylands safe. I'll see you guys all in the next video, and make sure to spread this around.